Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. As you probably know, Ukraine is one of the most democratic and free countries in the world, where democracy and freedom of speech is respected as in any other Western country, contrary to or in opposition to the tyranny that's occurring in Russia. Right? We have to start with that one. Now you know that's not true. Now we have an article here where they're going to tell us that freedom of expression and freedom of speech is very much respected in Ukraine in certain areas, not everywhere. If you remember, Ukraine banned some political parties. Ukraine banned some radio stations, TV stations, and newspapers. Ukraine banned a little religious community, Russian Orthodox Church or Kiev, something like that, remember? And many more, I would say, abuses which infringed the liberties of this free speech. They infringed free speech, didn't? Yes, they did. Nevertheless, it seems like the Ukrainians or the guys in charge of Ukraine are very sensitive to certain kind of freedoms and certain kind of values that come from the West. Therefore, those are not scrutinized. They're just, it goes by without saying that they must be respected. I have here an article coming from Russia Today, and it's going to show you what the Ukrainians are concerned with. And I would like you to pay attention at Ukrainian parliament, the issue that we're discussing, and I'm going to show you, or the parliament will discuss that issue, Zelensky, the owner of the part of the issue, and the legalization of all this. And then you're going to figure things out. Now, telling the truth should not be punishable unless we live in a very unfair, tyrannical system. And, we're heading towards, I guess, little by little. We should stop that. So everything I'm going to provide here is based on articles that are, how should I put it, right there. It's not something I pull out of my ass or it's something that's debatable, okay? It's something that's true. Now, the truth that I'm going to expose here or bring here will probably make some weasels uncomfortable. Well, I don't give a fuck about that, okay? Because I'm telling the truth. So here it is. Start with the article coming from Russia Today. Ukrainian parliament poised to legalize porn production. That's what's very concerning now for the Ukrainians. Lawmakers argue that OnlyFans profits could help fund the military. Do you know what OnlyFans is? I found out a month ago what OnlyFans is. And I found out reading a title of an article, saying that a daughter of a very well-known actor, I can't remember the name, she told them, I'm not a porn star, I'm not an adult movie, I am OnlyFans employee, or something like this. I said, what is that? So I read, I said, okay, now I know what that is. If you don't know, I will show you what it is. Just bear with me. Ready, set, go. OnlyFans. What's important about OnlyFans is not necessarily what it is, but who owns most of it. OnlyFans. OnlyFans is an internet content subscription service based in London, United Kingdom. The service is used primarily by sex workers who produce pornography, but it also hosts the work of other content creators, such as physical fitness, experts, and musicians. Great. Now, we go down here, and I'm interested in founding. OnlyFans was launched in November 2016. 2 years later, this is important, Ukrainian-American businessman Leonid Radvinsky, owner of My Free Cams, acquired 75% ownership of Phoenix International Limited and became one of its directors. After this, OnlyFans became increasingly focused on not safe for work content and gained a pop culture reputation for being a hive of this. So after this Ukrainian American, when I read that, I said, okay, let's see who this Leonid Radvitsky is, okay? Here's the guy, Leonid Radvitsky. But let's go back to the article because we have to cover something here first. Lawmakers in the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine announced on Friday that they have collected enough signatures for a bill that would decriminalize the production of pornography. Lead sponsor of the proposal, Yaroslav Zelensnyak, has argued that the current laws encourage corruption and legalizing porn could help raise funds for the military and destroying the society, but it's minor for them. All right, so Measure 9623 would amend Article 301 of Ukraine's criminal code with Zelensnyak called nothing short of stupidity. It does not change anything pertaining to child pornography, human trafficking, or prostitution. Good. And he's saying here, I'm quoting, "We are not even talking about OnlyFans, but about consuming this content in general," he told the Kiev Post, adding that sending someone to prison for up to 8 years for sending or receiving nudes is a Soviet legacy. Okay, so now say thousands of Ukrainians are actively employed in the production of pornography, according to Zelensnyak. The state received over 34 million hryvnia, $920,000 in taxes in the first half of 2023 from sites such as OnlyFans, whose majority owner is Ukrainian-American businessman Leonid Radvinsky. All right, so they want to do that. When I said, okay, who is this guy? So I went to this, the New Voice of Ukraine. Zelensky responds to petition to legalize porn in Ukraine. This is Ukrainska Pravda. Okay, this is September 4th, 2022. This article from Russia Today is August 19, is today. So let's see what Zelensky said. In particular, Zelensky forwarded the relevant issues to the Cabinet of Ministers as reported on the president's website. The Ukrainian president reiterated that the Constitution of Ukraine guarantees the right to freedom of thought, speech, and free expression of views and beliefs. You got that? All right. So if you got that, you can't ban political parties, media outlets, and so on. But let's see who this guy is. Okay, Leonid. We got him right here, but I see no picture. I already know who he is because when I saw Ukrainian American, I was like, okay, Ukrainian American. Okay, I almost know everything about you already. So I said biography. Radvinsky was born in Odessa, Ukraine, and his family later emigrated to Chicago when he was a child. And was like, oh my, I know how people immigrate and who was able to immigrate from Eastern Europe, from the communist place, from Romania and Soviet Union to United States and Israel. A certain kind of group was allowed. You couldn't just walk over there. I know that for a fact. I'll go to you. I can't cross the street first. Let me tell you this. In a communist Romania, you couldn't cross the street on the sidewalk of the U.S. embassy. You were taken by police immediately. Why? Because they thought that you're going to jump the fence and you're going to ask for political asylum. Okay? So you couldn't. So you couldn't even do that. Let alone, I want to immigrate to the United States of America just because. But it was an international understanding between certain powers and countries, and allowed the Soviet Jews to immigrate starting with 1970s in Soviet Union. Ukraine was Ukraine Soviet Socialist. Okay, the Soviet Socialist Republic of Ukraine. That's how it was called. It was part of Soviet Union. So when Soviet Union allowed that, had the deal done, a lot of Jewish, Ukrainians, Jewish, Russians, however you want to call them, immigrated to Israel. But a lot of them immigrated, they had the right to immigrate to the United States, which they did. Let me show you. So this is how his parents immigrated. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing out that his family immigrated in Chicago when he was a child. So in the 80s, obviously, 1982 he was born, right? So I'm going to go to this one. 1970s Soviet Union Aliyah. 1970s Soviet was the mass migration of Soviet Jews in Israel after the Soviet Union lifted its ban on Jewish refusnik immigration in 1971. More than 150,000 Soviet Jews immigrated during this period. And we have here dropouts. While many Jews immigrated to Israel, others chose to the United States instead. Known as dropouts, the emigres applied for the U.S. refugee visas while waiting at transit centers in Austria and Italy. Okay? And right here, it says here, this is important right here. From 1975 to 1980 to immigrate the US and join the 1.5. So it was a big immigration in this time. That's technically when he was born. All right? So I'm thinking he is one of those. Nothing wrong with that. Remember, Zelensky is Jewish, okay? Nothing wrong with that. And then I said, who is this guy? I couldn't find a picture of this guy. Well, I'm going to show you. This is this guy, the entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur. He's a tech entrepreneur because I'm going to show you. Look here. Leonid Leo Radvinsky is a Florida-based Ukrainian-American businessman, pornographer, and computer programmer. What's this? If I put on the picture, he said what? He's a tech entrepreneur. That's how he's called. All right? He's a nice guy like that. No problem. He's just an investor. No problem with that. So remember, he's just a programmer and a businessman. He's the founder of these things in Pop, and the majority owner of the content subscription service OnlyFans. All right, my friends? Hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, just a coincidence. Zelensky has no problem with freedom of speech, including OnlyFans, but has a problem with Russian-speaking radios, televisions, maybe Russian being phased out of schools, books not being printed in Russian, certain authors, Russian authors phased out, Russian Orthodox, Kiev, Russian Orthodox Church outside, right? Political parties outside. There's no freedom of speech over there, guaranteed. No. We pick and choose. Now, what is this? You know exactly what it is. So yeah, Ukraine has a lot of freedom, preferential freedom, or, pick and choose, situational freedom. I like you, okay? I don't like you. Interesting, this entrepreneur, don't you think? Anyway, just a coincidence, Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.